Good morning, Eric. How are you doing? Hope you're well. I'm kind of in halfway house in the middle of this festival that we're having, so bit of spare time, a bit of downtime. Yesterday we went out. We spent the afternoon at the British Museum with the kids, and this afternoon we're a little bit in a vegetative state. So I figure, why not? I'll come on and do a tasting. So somebody sent me this triplicate pack of Smokers Haven's samples. So there's the Exotique, or Exotique, our best blend, and Select Mix. And I've always been intrigued by them for a couple of reasons, not least of which that they're made by JF Germain's. Sorry, I'm just trying to plug in some power so that we don't go down in the middle. There we are. You've got a ton of it. Nice, good for you. Oh, a tin. Okay, so have you never tried it before? It's one of those tobaccos which I don't know if it's as hard to get as Penzance and things like that, but it's certainly one of those that we in the UK can't get. The whole Esoterica range, Balkan Sobrani, Pelican, essentially anything which doesn't have JF Germain on the tin, we can't get. It's made specifically for the American market. It sells fast. Yeah, it would be. Hi Pascal, how you doing? So any of the makes besides for JF Germain, we can't buy here in the UK. So the Royal Jersey we can get, because that's JF Germain. Rich Dark Flake, Special Latakia Flake, and all of their regular run-of-the-mill bulk blends, which you can buy here in the UK. I don't know, yesterday I did a live and I showed a lot of my tobaccos that I've got, and people were saying, well, it's a bit crazy having so much tobacco and blah blah, but I tell you the truth, you just never know what's around the corner. And I'm just thinking about it now, the JF Germain blends, Special Latakia Flake, I've got a bit, I haven't got a load, I may have half a pound max, not even, probably about 300 grams. And that's one of my favourite tobaccos. I really ought to just, stock up on that. Not in a crazy way, but every so often to buy a few ounces here and there and build it up. No worries, Pascal, be safe. Don't want you typing while you're driving. Yeah, it sells fast because it's one of those unicorn blends which just, for some reason, just goes very fast. I guess it's also because Germain's generally, they don't, when they produce, their bulk production is a lot smaller than other companies' bulk production. Hey Mel, how you doing? Your tamper is still sitting here. I haven't got around to, although I have been to the post office today, funnily enough, but I wanted to make it worthwhile somehow to justify the postage, and I haven't really thought of what I want to do yet. Send you something to make it worth sending, kind of thing. Although I could probably just put this in a cigar tube and send it across safely enough. Anyway, I will get it over to you, Mel. I haven't forgotten, don't worry. That's why it's here on my desk, to make sure that I don't forget. If you're in a rush for it, then I'll send it as it is, no problem. So their production tends to be, JF Germain's production tends to be a relatively small production compared to, say, I don't know, McBaron or Even McClelland, which was a small company by all accounts, they had a fairly regular production. Cornell and Deal, although they've got a huge range of tobacco, a relatively small setup. It seems to me that, well, if you think about it, if you compare it to um, McBaron is really covering, tobaccos worldwide, so their production would have to be greater. But the States, at the end of the day, is the majority of the pipe smoking world, if we're honest. Well, actually, come to think of it, you've got Germany as a huge pipe smoking nation, compared to, per capita, compared to, say, the UK. The UK is a very, very small market. We like to think of ourselves as the center of the world, but we're really not. The days of the what's the word I'm thinking of? When the British went around pillaging around the world. Hey, Tim. ANJ. The British, not the Commonwealth. Not the Commonwealth. What's the other one? There's a few of them. Tim, help me. The British Empire. Yeah, I suppose that's what I'm talking about. So we like to think that the British Empire is still existing, but it doesn't really exist. The colonies, yeah. But yeah, essentially we're a very small nation. In between mixture, which is more Oriental forward. Okay. The sun never sets on the Empire, no. It has set a long time ago on the British Empire. I still, I think we can be proud and embarrassed, like a lot of nations who have had some historic empire. You can be proud of the things that you've introduced around the world, and be not so proud of the havoc that was wreaked in the name of that empire. Anyway, enough of that. Bottom line, we're a very small smoking nation. So, JF Germain generally, compared to other to other companies, relatively small establishment, and that's why I guess they've got such a sort of, they do sort of tobacco drops maybe half a dozen times a year, and maybe even less, 4 or 5 times, and that's why it's so scarce. It's good tobacco and it goes out of stock quickly, and that's kind of been a perpetual thing, so that because it goes out of stock quickly, it gets more and more sought after, and it's more and more sought after the more quickly it goes out of stock when it does come in. So it's kind of a self-prophesizing thing, a self whatever the word is. So let's hope that they are not encountering any difficulties financially. I think they're still, they're keeping it a sensible size. I think it's mostly family-based still. Whenever I've called them directly on the phone, I think every single time that I've called, I've spoken to Robert Germain. I don't know where he is in the family tree, but I hope that there's still people carrying it on. Yes, NJ, I think that's a very, very true point. I think all nations have got good and bad. Yeah. All right. So we said it was going to be Exotique. So that's the one we'll do. I'm going to tip it all out so we can just get a look at the tobacco. Philadelphia Piper, welcome aboard. I don't think I've seen your name before. Thanks for joining. Very thin ribbon. A lot of their tobaccos are like this. Not my preferred presentation, but it is what it is. Gets burnt at the end of the day. It all gets sacrificed at the altar of the pipe. Really quite a smoky aroma. Hey Todd, there you can see the tobacco. So you've got the blacks, you've got the Virginias. It will probably burn fast, I agree with you. Quite an earthy mulchy aroma. There's a little bit of a chocolatey kind of aroma as well, but that could just be a mixture of the Virginias and the Latakia and the Orientals. So a fairly hello, Stefan Skip, a fairly typical presentation of a Balkan. Maybe slightly more on the smoky side. You know, there's not so much sweetness, and there isn't really any fruity sweetness there at all. So I'm assuming that there's no Perique in there. Let me just have a very quick look, because I did have it up on my screen. So this contains Latakia, Oriental, Turkish, and Virginia. I don't know if it's in that order or not, but that's the order it's written up on tobaccoreviews.com. Welcome, John, the bearded Welshman. Hi. All right, so I'm going to smoke it today in this Marron Glass Savinelli. I haven't smoked it in Yonkers. This is a pipe which I got as a gift from Peace Piper. If you guys know him, Peace Piper, doesn't put up as many videos as he used to. He's up in Tiberias in Israel. Lovely guy. I repaired a pipe of his for him. It was quite a rare Peterson pipe that he had, and it was completely blocked up, and he couldn't get any air through it at all. Anyway, he sent me this in return, which was very nice of him. Mel. Right, we've got the filter in already. You know, I once had this pipe in a video sale, and I realized that I got it as a gift. I had somebody at my door came to my house to buy this pipe. I had it on for about £50, I think, which is really cheap. And I realized that I'd gotten this as a gift. I don't know if I'd forgotten or just didn't occur to me at the time, but I pulled back literally at the last second, and I said, I'm sorry, I got this as a gift. I apologized to the guy. It's a guy who's bought pipes off me who lives in the area, so it wasn't like he was making a huge journey to buy it. But I did feel bad, but he probably thought that I was trying to put a fast one, maybe get some more money out of him, but that had nothing to do with that at all. Hey Paul, how you doing? Yes, so Paul, as you know, I sent you your package today. If any of you guys caught my live last night, I haven't left it up. But I did offer to send people in the UK samples. I went through about 3 plastic containers full of baggies, and I just needed to share some of that because there's just no way I was going to get through them all. Anyway, I sent out I think 3 or 4 parcels today, and it should keep you going for a few minutes, Paul, what I sent you. All right, let's get this lit and see what it's all about. Very, very smooth so far. Good quality Latakia. I'm going to assume that this is Syrian Latakia. And although I can't pretend to have had so much Cyprian Latakia and Syrian Latakia to say exactly what the difference is, but in my experience, in my limited experience, what I'm smoking is on the title of this video. With Syrian Latakia, I find it to be, and I'm going to struggle to describe this, so it's going to be what's in my mind's eye, and I've described it in this way in the past. I don't know if it'll resonate with you or not, you let me know. To me, it's a white, searing, smoky, sweet flavour. When I say white, what I mean is it's at the upper end of the scale of the taste kind of wheel. At the bottom end, you've got some deep, meaty, malty kind of flavours. In the middle, somewhere something like Dunhill Navy rolls, nice sweetness, fruity, stone fruit, that kind of thing, with a slight piquancy, a slight acidic note to it. And then at the top end, you've got lemon Virginias, very apricot-y kind of flavours and stuff like that. This stuff, so in terms of I really don't know what word to use, but in the high ends, the brighter end of the flavour scale. So if you now imagine smokiness, you've got smokiness at the bottom end, at the very acrid, not acidic so much, but very acrid, bitter, harsh, smoky barbecue, charcoal kind of flavour. And then you've got in the middle, somewhere in the middle, and then at the top end you've got really, I can only call it white. I don't know if that means anything to you, but like a white, searing, thin, almost like a thin flavour profile of smokiness, but it's a little bit sweet. So there's no bitterness, there's no charcoal element to it. It's just a bright, white, searing, sweet, musty Latakia flavour. Does that mean anything to anybody? Does anybody else get that distinction between the top end and the bottom end? Or am I just waffling? I'm not asking Paul so much of whether it means anything to you in terms of compared to how you've tasted it. Just the description. Does the description mean anything? Could be any tobacco. Creamier, yeah, could say that. It's certainly on the brighter end of the flavour scale. There's a very mild grassiness there. There is a tangy sweetness to it as well, but it's very much on the upper end of the flavour scale to me. There isn't a lot of lower end meaty kind of flavours which you do get sometimes. Oh, it's certainly smoky. It's just a much brighter, smoother, creamier, musty smoke. You got to have a coffee with your Latakia, that's for sure. Nightcap, I think, is actually a bit more of a balanced affair. I think Nightcap does have more of the mid-level and a bit of the lower end of flavours as well. This one I think is a much brighter smoke, much brighter flavours. I think Nightcap is probably a much more balanced smoke. I mean, this is it's not a criticism of this tobacco. It's just how it presents itself. You know, there's horses for courses, I guess. You know, some people prefer bright. Some people, you know, just want to change every so often. You know, when you're going through your smoking routine each day, you know, you like to mix it up a bit. well, some people do. Some people stick to one blend. I like to mix it up. I don't like to have, for instance, one Latakia blend after another. I will sometimes. Yesterday I had 2 or 3 bowls of Northwoods back to back. But usually I like to mix it up a little bit so that, because my mouth after a while gets completely what I call latakia'd out, just too much latakia, and you just don't want anymore. So I tend to mix it up, you know, I'll have some latakia, and then I'll have a Virginia-based blend, maybe a light aromatic. So I like to mix it up. Yeah, so Nightcap is a much more of a mixture, much more of a balanced blend. I'm not a big Nightcap smoker, but I have smoked it, and from memory, it is a much more balanced blend. See you later, Pascal. So look at the colour of that ash, white ash. It's supposed to be a sign of good quality tobacco. What I find interesting is that any of the brands made by JF Germain, whether it be Germain's, Esoterica, Balkan Sobrani, Smoker's Haven, any of them, the quality is consistent. And I wonder if that's to do with the places where they buy their tobacco, and perhaps they use certain processes which are done specifically for Germain's, or if it's all in the processing. Obviously there's a lot of it in the processing in any event, but is it all to do with the processing? You know, because you wonder whether they just buy their crop from one particular supplier or not, because it's so consistent. Yes, Eric, that makes absolute sense, which is what kind of brought me to this last comment about the consistency. Okay, so this reminds me of the Balkan Sobrani White. Yeah, it is a very fine cut, for sure. I wonder if that makes it easier for the tobaccos to marry, for the flavors to marry. There's more of a bit of a grassy, vegetally flavor coming through now. Not quite a herby flavor, but there's just a little, maybe like a tea, that kind of a green tea kind of flavor, grassiness coming through. I do find with a lot of Balkan blends is that it starts off with that searing, musty latakia, but as it settles in, you do start to get a little bit more of a more balanced smoke. So maybe that lower end, which I was talking about it being missing, maybe it'll start to come through as I get through the bowl. And to be honest, I don't actually know how many times this pipe has been smoked. I've only smoked it a few times. I've probably had it for, I don't know, I might have had it for maybe 6 months or a year. And I don't know how many times Peace Piper smoked it, if at all. It may have been very lightly smoked. So it could be that this is not fully broken in, but it would have had a bowl coating in it, I would imagine. Cheers, NJ. The marron glace. This is the glass. I assume it's referring to the stem material, which is very nice. It's got a very interesting sort of a marble effect, like cut glass kind of thing. Savinelli marron glace. Pretty standard rustication. Well balanced pipe. Sparrow pipe tobacco. I've never heard of that. How many years ago are you talking about, Paul? Cheers, Mel. The pipe you were showing the other day, Mel, the nude one, the unfinished one, what shape is that? Is that the same shape as this? It looks quite similar. 7 years, right. You seem to smoke quite a lot of these Savinelli of that shape. I don't know what shape it is. I'm not familiar with all the shapes. Is that the one? Is that one that you're making? No, you were smoking a pipe, and you said that's one of your best pipes. Or maybe you were showing the one that you were making to match it. What shape is it? The one that you smoke? 626. Yeah, I thought it was that. Hey, Rich, how you doing? It is afternoon here. It's 3:30. Well, nearly 4 o'clock. I used to have quite a few Savinellis, and they're really good value for money. There's no question about that. Although you can obviously spend a lot of money on Savinellis as well. But if you stay down at the sort of rusticated range and the beginning of the smooth ranges, there's so many pipes you can get for 60, 70 pounds. You could build a whole collection at that price range and have superb pipes. Before I got into... Hey, Moogfather. Before I got into Stanwell pipes, Savinelli was really my number one factory pipe. Always held it in very high regard. Very consistent, the quality. Quality's always been very, very good. Trying to find my other Savinelli. I'm not sure what I've done with it. So this is, I just think Stanwells, they're just more classic. Well, very Danish, obviously. So yeah, they're really good. So this is a Christmas pipe from either 15 or 16, I don't recall. I think it's a 606, this one. Probably a little bit taller, yeah. And yeah, St. Nicholas, a little bit taller, and it just has a really big bowl. I remember smoking Blood Red Moon in this most of the time, and it just the smokes would go on forever. And you guys will remember I had this specially made, this tamper as a set. I don't think I've ever used it, so I didn't want to spoil it. I had this custom made with my old handle, if you remember BPR UK. So he just shortened it to BP UK, which is Bosco Piper UK. And did a very, very good job. This was Rick Ruff of Ruff Works. And he just matched it very, very well. Very impressive. Don't remember what wood this is. and I wouldn't know where to start getting these metal bits in there and stuff like that. Afternoon smoking. Hey Bona, how you doing? Let's use it. Let's not. On the lower gear this morning, rainy day. OGS and a cup of coffee. Yeah, can't go wrong. One of the packages I sent out this morning has some OGS in it. I don't remember to whom. I sent out 3 or 4 parcels. 3, I think, to UK subscribers with a whole bunch of samples. I think all 3 were on the live last night. On the branding news, my stamp is finally, the design of my pipe stamp, the new pipe stamp is finished, and that will be going into production very soon, and that's coming from the States. A lot of the guys are using the same provider. You probably know who it is. I can't remember what it's the name of it now, but one of you probably will know. He's a very well-known stamp maker, so I don't know how long it takes for him to make it, but it should be, I hope it'll be with me in a couple of weeks, with all being well. It's taken us quite some time to get to this point. Seems to be a very, very busy guy. Let's see if I can get a picture up on the screen. Buckeye, it's called Buckeye. The company is called Buckeye Engraving. All right, so here's the. Get that off. So I've ordered 2 stamps, LCS Briars with a little pipe image in between, and London made. So fairly straightforward. Does what it says on the tin, and I just wanted it to be clean looking. Did it take you a long time to get yours as well, Eric? Classic, exactly. Bona, spot on. KBV. Isn't KBV that company that's done a collaboration with Chris Eldridge with some tobaccos recently? Okay, it took you a month in the States, I suppose. It's taken me a good while. It's taken me probably 2 or 3 times as long as that. I think during COVID, everything's taken longer. He said it was to do with COVID as well. They were behind. Yes, they're in Kent, Ohio. Crystal Parkway. Ken Byron Ventures, yeah. He's got a collaboration. Well, the two stamps only came later on. It was just getting in touch with him and getting him to sort of respond to emails and stuff like that. But he did say that it was due to COVID, and he apologized. And we're there, so I'm happy. Hopefully, 2-3 weeks, hopefully I'll have it then. So Ken Byron Ventures, if you have a look at them online, and if you look at Chris Eldridge's recent video or two, he talks about this venture that he's gone into with Ken Byron, and they've produced a bunch of different tobaccos. Chris Eldridge is into his whole sort of presentation, his whole style is very esoteric, it's very dark, the dark side kind of thing. And so that style is what's been sort of, if you look at the names of the tobaccos that they've put together, it's that kind of thing. But one of them, which he talked about, I tried to get on there and buy some, and it sold out. So, but he says it'll be intermittently in stock, so I guess they'll be doing batches all the time. Yeah, I did see that on the website, Philadelphia, that they have that option of getting jar labels, which is a really nice touch. Oh yeah, he's very light-hearted. Very light-hearted. I've met him at the pipe show a couple of times, I think, and a lovely guy to talk to. Really, really, as you say, you can see it comes through in his videos how such a sort of a gentle guy he is. And he's the nicest guy in the world. He really is. It's just interesting when you see that contrast in terms of you expect somebody who's going to be all gothic and that kind of thing to be a little bit out there, but he's just the nicest, softly spoken guy in the world, and you can see that coming through in his videos. I love how he uses his hands to, when he gesticulates, to try and make a point, and he's trying to explain a taste or a shape with his hands. And somebody else made that point as well, and I think it's very true. It's just interesting. He's very, very into his hand gestures. He's actually in the middle of a very, very cool series now, where he's talking about a bunch of pipe makers that he obviously likes. Wow, was that it? Oh, that was quick. And he really gets into quite in-depth discussion about different pipe makers. The ones he's talking about are pretty, high-end stuff. But there's, all different types of pipe makers that he's been doing, and an interesting series. How's the shop coming along? The shop is not coming along at the moment because the garage is in use for family use until the end of the current festival of Sukkot, which finishes on Sunday night. And once that's done, I will then be back in the shop trying to put it back together. I just need to decide what I'm doing, whether I'm going to extend it, open up into the whole garage, or just use the same space but make it more efficient. The rifle round tamper. No, I don't remember where I got this one from. This is, don't remember what kind of shell it is. It's, oh dear, it says on it, it says RWS or RW5 and then 30-06, whatever that means. I know very, very little about guns and bullets and all that kind of jazz, so don't ask me. And no, I didn't make it. Anyway, I just really wanted to get on for a short while to share this tobacco with you. It was very, very nice. It does remind me of the Balkan Sobrani White. I've got the my own blend match for Balkan Sobrani White. I tried it from a sample that Stephen, Cobbett of the Shire, sent me a while back. So I've actually bought a tin of it from the Danish pipe shop a while back, but I haven't opened it or tried it. But it does remind me of that, very, very similar. So a lot of people liken this Exotique to Balkan Sobrani, so it seems to make sense that it should taste very similar. So it kind of actually speaks to the quality of the my own blend match blends. Actually, I've got it here. Here we go. It's a BS White, which is the Balkan Sobrani White. It's 100 grams, but I haven't opened it yet, so at some point I will, and I'll jar it up. Hey Suffolk, how you doing? You just caught the tail end of this. This was just a quick one, just to share this Exotique tobacco. It may well be American. I honestly couldn't tell. I honestly couldn't say. In the words of Mr. Urquhart, you may well think that, but I couldn't possibly say. My own blend is not a proprietary label from well, it's made by somebody called, I think it's Poul Olsen, if I'm not mistaken, and it is available in other shops, but I've only ever bought it from the Danish pipe shop. Where are we? Yeah, Poul Olsen. I'm not sure where if that company is a supplier or if they have their own shop, but I am aware that it is available in other Danish shops. I'm pretty sure about that. Hey James, how you doing? Gentleman Caller. Who is that made by? Is that C&D? This is actually my tamper sock. It came with this tamper from Roughworks. All the best, Mel. I'll get that tamper off to you ASAP. Sorry for the delay. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to reload. It was good, I have to admit. It was a good bowl. And you know what? I'm going to smoke it in my Boswell. It's probably my most smoked Latakia pipe. Frog Morton Cellar. Yeah, that's a nice blend. All right, bowl number 2. We'll see what it's like in this pipe. This is one, either my first or one of my first Boswell pipes. Had it converted. I think it was either Marco at Moretti Pipes or Ian Walker that converted this pipe. I don't recall which. Those are the two people that I sent pipes to get them converted. Wow. What a difference. So much richer. Not overpowering, but just a much more concentrated flavour in this pipe. That's interesting. These pipes, the shape of the bowl, of the chamber, is almost a V shape. Never mind a U. It's almost, it comes to a point like that. It's literally a V shape, so it concentrates the flavour. As the smoke comes through all that tobacco, it's picking up flavours. There's an argument to do all your bowls that way, but they're a lot harder to drill and to get right, to meet up the draft hole precisely. If you look on Rich, if you look at Pipe Stud, Steve Fallon, he's got them on really often. It's the same DNA, James, but it's just so much richer. The flavours snap into focus a lot quicker, and that richness is there. There's more sweetness, there's spiciness. There's a spiciness which I didn't get at all in the other pipe. I don't think I've ever done it where I've had the same blend back to back in two different pipes to see the difference, and what a revelation. His website is Pipestud. Just search Pipestud and you'll get it. It's probably pipestud.com. Hey Victorian Piper, how you doing? We're just testing this Exotique, Smokers Haven's Exotique, and I'm on my second bowl of it. First one was in this Savinelli Marron glass, and now I'm smoking it in a Boswell bent apple. The interesting thing is that depending on how devoted you are to and sort of making a record of your smokes. I know some people are very, very particular about that, and they'll write down details of particular smokes, in which pipe it was better, whether it was wetter, drier, hotter, colder. Make notes of everything. They're really into it. And you could actually, depending on your mood, you can say, right, I'm going to have it in this pipe or that pipe, depending on what you're looking for. If you wanted a much deeper, sort of heavier, more satisfying smoke it in this one. If you want something lightweight, smoke it in that one. With that richness, it does bring more grassiness as well. Essentially, essentially I'm getting a broader spectrum of flavors. That's the bottom line. It's very possible that this pipe is still not yet fully broken in, and I'm not getting the best out of it. But I'm getting a much fuller flavor with this pipe. It's got its pluses and minuses. It's not as creamy, it's not as smooth and mellow as it was in the other pipe. Much fuller on the retrohale, richer and less smooth and mellow. I'm not going to go as far as saying harsh, but certainly less smooth, less refined. Well, you're one of those, James, I guess. What else do you keep notes on? Rich, remind me, are you in the UK? If you are, I'd be more than happy to send you some McClellans to try. Oh, right. Sorry. I think, have I not sent you a pipe in the past? The name rings a bell. Did you buy a pipe from me? Hey, Boris. Oh, okay, so it wasn't you. There's somebody else. Maybe it's called Rich Smokes, maybe? Somebody with a similar name, I think, has bought a pipe from me. I think he bought a pipe and sent it on to, what's his name, in Switzerland. Yeah, no, no pressure. No, no need. You don't have to. I wasn't trying to. I wasn't feeling for a purchase. Don't worry. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I'm in the same boat at the moment, which is why there's going to be an estate sale coming up soon. I keep mentioning it for the last few days, but it will be up there soon. Got a nice selection of pipes to go up, and a lot of my actually, if you want to get an LCS pipe on the cheap, there's going to be some of the ones that I've smoked that I just don't smoke that much anymore, and there'll be some which I had issues with when I was making them, but are still perfectly smokable. So some of those are going to be going up for very, very low prices. Hey Tom, remind me, which pipe number did you buy? I stopped actually putting the numbers on pipes quite a long time ago, and I'm not sure that was the best decision. Pipe 165, let's have a look. That's a nice pipe. That one had some spectacular grain on it. There you go. Look at that grain. Yeah, nice stem that. I actually I sent off a bunch of stems to get drilled. All right, Suffolk, all the best. Alex, right? Anyway, I'll more on that another time. Time for me to go. It was supposed to be a quick one, and we've been on now for how long have we been on? For over an hour, or nearly an hour, I should say. So, thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate you joining me on this ad hoc live stream. I hope that's been interesting. That was the Smoker's Haven Exotique mixture, and nice tobacco. Really, really good. And I shall probably finish this bag before long. And I may well open up that My Own Blend BS white. So maybe we'll see how that goes. All right. Have a great day, everybody. And Paul, let me know when you get that baggie. And hope you enjoy it. Crowned Head cigars I have had, but I don't know, not the 4 kicks. I've had different ones. All right, everybody. Thanks very much. And I will catch you on the next one. I may well do another live still before the weekend because I won't be on Saturday. All right. Cheers. Catch you on the next one.